Hey guys, we are back with another lesson on simple interest. This time we're rearranging the simple interest formula. So if you didn't join us for our introductory lesson on simple interest, please check that out. Click the button in the top right or check the description box down below. If this is your first time to the channel, let me introduce myself. I'm Ms. Danielson and I will be taking you through another lesson today on simple interest, including a couple of examples, and we will finish off with a practice exercise as always and take the answers up at the end. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, given the interest, if you are given the interest, a lot of people make this mistake. They think, I'm not going to use the formula then. What do I need the formula for? I already know the interest. Even if you are told the interest, you may not have been told how much time the investment or loan lasted, or what the rate of interest was, or what the principal amount was. So we need to work through that formula to find out that missing information. Still, we start the same way. First of all, we need to identify the given variable values. So if they give us the interest, I equals, if they give us the time, T equals, if they give us the rate, R equals some percent, and if they give us the principal, P equals. Next, we set up the simple interest formula, the same as in our last lesson, I equals PTR over 100. And if you're not familiar with this formula, check out that last lesson. We explained it there. Then we substitute our given values into the formula. So if you're told what I is, instead of I, we'll put that number. If you're told what P, T, or R is, same thing. We substitute these variable letters with their values. But this time we need to then rearrange this equation. Once you substituted values into the formula, you end up with an equation of some number equals some number multiplied by some letter. We need to rearrange that to get the letter on its own. So let's give this a try with this example here. Anthony borrowed some money at a rate of 1.5% per annum. That means per year. After 7 years, he owes 189 euros in interest. That's just the interest. He also has to pay back what he originally borrowed. Work out how much money he borrowed. Okay, so hopefully from this question you can see what information is missing. We're trying to find out how much he borrowed. That's what we call the principal amount, what he started out borrowing. Do we know the time, T? It says after 7 years he owes. Okay, so after 7 years, time must be 7 years. R, do we know R, the rate? Yes, the rate is 1.5%. So we don't know P, we know T, we know R. What other information is given? What's that 189? It's not the principal, it's the interest that he owes. So I is equal to 189. Now, even though we're missing the P, we can set up the formula I equals PTR over 100 and substitute the values we do know in. We know that I is 189. We don't know the P, so we'll leave it just as P. We know that T is 7 and the R is 1.5. So 189 equals P, T which is 7, R which is 1.5, over 100. Let's simplify that before we solve. 7 times 1.5 was 10.5, so we've got 10.5 P over 100. Now to get that P on its own, right now it's being multiplied by 10.5 and divided by 100. So let's take the 100 to the other side and multiply. And then we'll take the 10.5 to the other side. Opposite of multiply is divide. So P must be equal to 1,800 euros. He must have borrowed 1,800 euros. But since it's taking him 7 years to pay it back at a 1.5% interest rate, he's going to have to pay back that 1,800 euros as well as the 189 euros interest. How much in total does Anthony need to pay back then? Well, he needs to pay what he borrowed plus the interest. So the principal plus the interest, 1,800 plus the 189, that's 1,989. Question 2. This time Freddie is investing some money. Freddie invests 700 euros for 3 years and earns 25 euros and 20 cents in interest. Work out the rate of interest. Okay, so this time it's clear we don't know what R is. What do we know? We are given 700 euros that he invested in the beginning. Remember, the value at the beginning is called the principal value. So P equals 700. And do we know the time? The amount of time that he invested his money for was for 3 years. So T equals 3 years. Do we know the rate? No, the rate is what we're trying to work out. And what about the interest? We're told that he earns 25 euros and 20 cents in interest. So we've got the I. Once again, we know this is a simple interest question, so we set up the simple interest formula. Even though we know what the interest is, we need this formula so we can substitute the values we know into it and rearrange to find the values we don't know. I know that I is 25.20. I know that P is 700. I know that T is 3, but I don't know R, so I just leave that as R. So 25.20 equals 700 times 3 times R over 100. Remember, simple interest is always PTR over 100. Okay, so let's simplify that a bit first before we can solve. 700 times 3, that's 2,100. So 2,100 R over 100, but I can simplify this fraction a bit first. Notice I can divide both the top and the bottom by 100. Just take off those 2 zeros. So 25.20 is equal to 21R. Get the R on its own. It's being multiplied by 21 right now. A number in front of a letter means that they are being multiplied. So move the 21 to the other side and do the opposite. The opposite of multiply is divide. So R must be equal to 1.2%. The rate of interest was 1.2%. B, how long would it take Freddie to earn 210 euros in interest? Because maybe he's not happy with just earning 25 euros and 20 cents. But remember, a simple interest guaranteed investment is not a quick way to make money. You're going to have to find other ways. But it is safe and it does help you keep up with inflation. So, again, using the values that we know that the principal was 700. We don't know how much time it's going to take, so I'll leave that as T. We do know the rate now, it's 1.2%. And we know we want to earn 210 euros in interest. So, using the formula, I equals PTR over 100, substitute your values in. I is 210, P is 700, T will leave as T until we figure it out, and R is 1.2. 210 is equal to 700T times 1.2 over 100. Let's simplify that a bit. So 700 times 1.2 is 840. So 210 is 840T over 100. I want to get T on its own. It's being multiplied by 840 and divided by 100. So I'll move the 100 to the other side first. Opposite of divide, I'll multiply. And then I want the T on its own. It's being multiplied by 840. Opposite of multiply, we divide. So T must be equal to 25 years. I told you it wasn't going to be quick, but if he's not going to use those 700 euros for 25 years, at least it wouldn't have lost all its value over time. Okay, let's move on to some practice now. Rearranging simple interest. Watch out for what values are given and what needs to be calculated. Some rearranging of the simple interest formula may be necessary. So in question 1, if Brett has $10,900 at the end of 3 years, how much interest did he earn if he originally invested $7,500? So we're told the total amount, and we're told the amount of years it took him, and we're told the principal amount. I think we might have a bit too much information here. How much interest did he earn? Next, part B. What was the yearly rate of interest? So we're trying to find out R here. We know the starting amount, that's P. We know the time, that's the number of years. And we want to know the yearly rate of interest, given that in question A, we worked out the amount of interest. Question 2. Find the principal, so the starting amount, which was invested in the following. A. 5 years at a 7% rate of interest per year, earning $300 in interest. So we're told the interest was $300, we're told the rate was 7%, and we're told the time was 5 years. Set that up and find the principal. Question B, 15 years at a 3% per annum rate of interest, earning $5,750 in interest. So again, we are told the interest, we are told the rate, and we were told the time. Set that up and find the P, the principal. Question C, and notice it's got a star next to it. Here we're told the time is 30 months, while the rate is 4% per year. And we want to earn $3,000 in interest. So we know the interest, we know the rate per year, and we know the time in months. Think about that before you set that up. Go ahead and hit pause. Your answers are coming up in just a minute. Now I hope you've had a chance to hit pause. Here come your answers. For A, it was only $3,400 in interest. In B, using that amount of interest, working out the rate of interest, it's 15.1% interest. That is an insanely high rate of interest. Very, very difficult that you actually get a guaranteed investment with a simple interest of 15.1%. Read the fine print if someone offers you that. Question 2. Find the principal which was invested in the following. So how much was invested to earn $300 in interest? $857.14. B, how much was invested to earn $5,750 interest? You must have invested a lot. $12,777.78. And question C, watch out because this is 30 months, not 30 years. You would need to invest $30,000 to earn $3,000 in 30 months, which is just 2.5 years. Now here's some more practice for you. Rearranging simple interest. Find the rate of interest for the following investments to the nearest whole percentage. So this time we're looking for the rate of interest. A, given that you invested $10,000 for 5 years, earning $2,500 in interest. What's the rate? We know the P, we know the T, and we know the I. Find the R. B, given that you've invested $15,500 for 8 years, earning $1,300 in interest. We know the P, we know the T, we know the I. Set that up and find the R. C, $2,500 invested for 6 years, earning $300 in interest. Again, we know the P, we know the T, we know the I. Set that up and find the R. D, investing $18,000 for 24 months, be careful, months, earning $4,000 in interest. We know the P, we know the time in months, and we know the I. Set that up and find the R. And we want to find the yearly rate of interest, so we want the R per year. Think about that before you set it up. Question 4, how long has Jeff invested $4,500 at a 7% per annum per year interest rate to earn $1,890 in interest? This time we know the P, we know the R, and we know the I, but we need to set that up and rearrange to find the T, the time. How long has it taken him? Hit pause now, give that a go, and your answers are coming up in just a minute. I hope you've hit pause. Here come your answers. For question A, he would have to earn a 5% rate of interest per year. For B, it must be a 1% interest per year. It's actually 1.048, but rounding to a full percentage, and we don't always need to do that, it would be 1% to a full percentage. Question C, would be a 2% per year interest. For question D, per year, per annum, that would be 11% per annum. It was actually 11.1 recurring, but rounding to a whole percentage, it's 11% per year. And question 4, it would have taken 6 years to earn $1,890 in interest. Now, I hope that you found this lesson and practice helpful. If I've left anything unclear, please feel free to comment so I can clarify for you. Otherwise, just keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.